I pulled the trigger on my own career that night, not with a gun, but with a single keystroke that unleashed hell on the empire I'd helped build. By dawn, the headline screamed my name, Charlotte Hayes, the whistleblower who wasn't blowing a whistle, but shattering glass ceilings with shrapnel. And the sick twist? The man who'd framed me for embezzlement 5 years ago, the one I loved like a father, woke up to find his dirty laundry flapping in the digital wind, courtesy of the daughter he discarded. It started in the fluorescent hell of Apex Financial's trading floor, where dreams died faster than bad trades. I was 28, fresh off an MBA from Wharton, all wide-eyed ambition and cheap coffee, when Victor Lang recruited me. He was the kingpin of quantitative trading, silver-haired fox with a Harvard drawl that could charm a jury or bankrupt a nation. "Charlotte," he'd say, clapping my shoulder like I was his own blood, "you're the algorithm I didn't know I needed." I believed him. Hell, I worshipped him. For 3 years, I crunched numbers that turned millions into billions, staying late to debug models while the rest of the floor hit happy hours at the bullpen downtown. Victor noticed. He mentored me, pulled strings for my promotion to lead quant. And when the 2018 market crash hit like a freight train, he trusted me with the crown jewels, the proprietary black box algorithms that predicted volatility better than God. That's when the betrayal slithered in. It was a Tuesday in October, the air thick with panic as the Dow plunged 800 points. Our hedge fund was bleeding, clients screaming, regulators circling like vultures. Victor called me into his corner office, overlooking the Hudson, the skyline a jagged scar against the bruised sky. "We need to hedge aggressively, Charlie," he said, using my nickname like it was a secret handshake. He handed me a drive with tweaks to the algo, subtle overrides to juice returns, skirt SEC margins by a hair. "Run it through the simulator first," I said, stomach twisting. Rules were rules, even in the wild east of Wall Street. But Victor's eyes, those ice blue lasers, softened. For the team. For us. I caved. Plugged it in. Watched the numbers dance. By end of day, we'd clawed back 40% of the losses. Beers all around after hours. Victor raised a glass to me in front of the partners. To Charlotte Hayes, the woman who saved Apex. 2 weeks later, the feds knocked. Not gently. Either SWAT-style raid at 6 a.m., black SUVs blocking my Brooklyn walk-up, agents in windbreakers flashing badges like Judgment Day. They had emails, timestamps, logs. The algo tweaks traced straight to my workstation. Insider manipulation. They called it. Felony territory. Victor? Nowhere in sight. His name scrubbed from the code like it had never existed. I sat in a holding cell that smelled of bleach and despair, replaying his voice. For us. By noon, Apex issued a press release. Rogue employee. Isolated incident. Full cooperation with authorities. My face, mugshot fresh, plastered on CNBC. The ticker scrolling, quant queen turns crook. The plea deal was a mercy killing. 2 years probation. $500,000 fine I didn't have. And a lifetime ban from finance. Victor visited me once. Post-indictment. In a sterile conference room at the DA's office. Gray suit impeccable. Tie a noose of silk. "I'm sorry, Charlie." The board forced my hand. "But look at it this way. You took one for the team." Took one? I'd taken the fall for his greed. His overrides that he'd buried under layers of proxies. I wanted to scream, to claw his eyes out, But the cuffs on my wrists reminded me, snitches get stitches, and ex-cons get nothing. He slipped me an envelope, $5,000 in cash, for a fresh start, and walked out whistling. I burned it that night in my sink, the flames licking like accusations. Exile was a slow bleed. I bounced from gig to gig, freelance data entry in Jersey, bartending at a dive in Queens where the tips smelled like regret. Relationships fizzled faster than cheap champagne. My fiancé, Mark, the steady engineer type, bailed after the trial. I can't build a life on sand. Char. Friends ghosted. Family in Ohio sent passive-aggressive cards about learning from mistakes. Victor thrived. Apex promoted him to CEO in 2020, right as the pandemic minted billionaires. I stalked him on LinkedIn like a digital phantom, vacations in the Hamptons, TED Talks on ethical AI, even a memoir excerpt in Forbes, Leadership in Crisis, owning the hard choices. The secret festered, a tumor I couldn't cut out. I'd kept every scrap, the original drive, backed up on an encrypted thumb in my safety deposit box, emails Victor thought deleted. Fished from the cloud by a hacker buddy from my Wharton days, off the books. Of course, $2K well spent. It wasn't enough for court, statute of limitations on the fraud. My word against his empire. But revenge? That's a dish served cold. In pixels and PDFs. I waited, grinding my teeth through night shifts at a call center, memorizing Apex's org chart like scripture. Enter Elena Vesquez, Victor's golden child. Sharp as a stiletto, Latina firebrand from Stanford. She'd climbed fast under his wing. Whispers said she was next in line, but I saw the cracks, late-night emails I'd glimpsed in old logs. Her pushing Victor for bolder risks, him reining her in. She was ambitious, ruthless, perfect pawn. It took 2 years to infiltrate. Fake resume. Alias Claire Hartnett. I landed an admin gig at Apex's satellite office in Midtown, buried in HR drudgery. Close enough to smell the leather chairs. Far enough to stay invisible. Elena was my in. She remembered me vaguely from the scandal. Oh, the quant girl? Tough break, and I played the reformed sinner. All humble pie and wide eyes. Just paying the bills. Elena. You know how it is. She bought it. Invited me to after-work mixers. Over Cosmos at the roof. I dropped breadcrumbs. Victor's lucky to have you steering the ship. Flattery's a hell of a drug. By spring 2024, I was her confidant, ghostwriting memos, fetching dry cleaning. She confided everything, the board's grumblings, Victor's creeping senility, her side hustle siphoning microfees from client trades. He's old school. Charlie. I need to modernize before he tanks us. Betrayal number 2 hit like deja vu. Elena uncovered my alias during a routine background check, some intern's wetware glitch. Instead of firing me, she cornered me in the ladies' lounge, mirrors multiplying her smirk. Charlotte Hayes. The fall girl returns. Panic clawed my throat, but she leaned in, breath minty with malice. I know about the drive. Victor bragged once, drunk at the gala, how he fed you to the wolves. My blood iced. She had her own skeletons. Those microfees? Grand theft on a slow boil. Enough to fund her Hamptons co-op. Help me bury him, she whispered, and I'll bury yours. Alliance forged in the John. Sealed with a nod. We'd flip the board, expose Victor's retirement fund, a slush of off-books bonuses from the crash era. My revenge. Her ascension. I handed over the drive. She fed it to her IT mole for verification. But Elena was Victor's protege for a reason, a chameleon in Louboutins. As we plotted, late nights in her office, whiskey neat and white bards scrawled with timelines, she flipped. Twice. I caught her hedging, anonymous tips to compliance about my suspicious access, then pulling them when I confronted her. Just testing loyalties. Babe. Can't be too careful. Trust eroded like Manhattan bedrock. But the plan rolled on. We scheduled the drop for the annual summit in Vegas, where Victor would announce expansions to a room of whale investors. I'd pose as a temp, slip the dossier under seats during cocktail hour. Elena would discover it post-speech. Play the shocked air. Vegas was in neon veins. The Bellagio's fountains danced like taunts as I checked in, heart hammering under my black sheath. Victor keynote at dawn. All bluster and buzzwords. Apex 2.0, transparent, innovative, unbreakable. The crowd ate it up. Elena beaming from the front row like a prom queen. Cocktail hour blurred into scheming, me circulating with a folder. Slim as a Bible. Heavy as lead. Slipped one to a hedge fund suit from BlackRock, another to a reporter from Bloomberg. Elena's signal. A text. Go time. But as Victor took the stage for Q&A, she ghosted. No discovery, no outrage. Instead, security swarmed me mid-mingle. Elena's doing. Her voice on the radio. Suspect with prohibited materials. They dragged me to a back room. Victor presiding like a magistrate. Charlotte. Again? His disappointment was Oscar-worthy. Eyes flicking to Elena, who mouthed sorry with crocodile tears. The folder? Doctored. My prints. My notes. But Victor's sins redacted to hypothetical. She'd flipped for the last time. Trading my head for his blessing. Cosio. Wedding bells to his son. You never learn. Do you? Victor sighed. Signing my escort out. Blacklisted again. Vegas lights mocking as I cabbed to the airport. Empty-handed. Rage crystallized on the flight home. Not hot fury, but diamond-hard resolve. Elena's betrayal? The cherry on Victor's shit sundae. I had backups, everything. Mirrored on a dark web drop I'd set up years ago. Triggered by a dead man switch. All I needed was the spark. It came Monday. Etched in company-wide email. Apex restructuring initiative. Layoffs looming. 30% of the floor pink-slipped to streamline for growth. Elena's memo. Ruthless as a guillotine. Necessary evolution. By noon. Water cooler whispers turned to sobs, traders hugging monitors like life rafts. I didn't cry. I coded. Midnight crept in like a thief. The city a constellation of screens flickering against my blackout curtains. My studio in Bushwick was a war room, 3 monitors jury-rigged on a IKEA desk scarred from coffee rings. A half-eaten pizza congealing in the box. The dead man's switch was elegant, Python script on a rented VPS in Estonia. VPN chained through Tor. Set to flood Apex's public API with payloads if I missed 3 daily pings. But tonight, I pinged manually, overriding with a flood command. Target, the investor portal. That glossy facade of annual reports and ESG fluff. I'd reverse-engineered it months ago, posing as Claire, slipping in a backdoor via a phishing sim during a security drill. The files weren't just Victor's overrides, they were the rot at Apex's core. Crash-era trades laundered through Cayman shells. Elena's micro-fees funneled to a PAC for friendly senators. Board minutes greenlighting bribes to Chinese regulators for algo access. And me, the scapegoat thread woven through it all, Forged logs pinning the first breach on my IP. Victor's emails to HR. Hayes expendable. Protect the brand. I hit enter. Watching the upload bar creep. 5%. 12%. Each packet a ghost from my past. Unshackled. No manifesto. No flair, just raw data. Timestamps screaming truth. By 12:15. The portal glitched. By 12:30. Alerts pinged on Bloomberg terminals worldwide. Apex data breach. Internal docs leaked. Sleep was a luxury for suckers. I paced. Chain-smoking menthols out the fire escape. The Brooklyn Bridge, a distant glow mocking my isolation. Dawn broke with my phone exploding, unknown numbers. Voicemails from reporters I'd never met. MS. Hayes. Off the record. Is this you?
How?
The metadata. I'd scrubbed it. But forensics are a bitch. By 8 a.m., CNBC looped the story. Whistleblower or wrecking ball. Ex-Apex exec dumps dirt. My old mugshot side by side with Victor's polished headshot. Elena's poised in the background like a villain's sidekick. The market reacted. Apex stock dipped 15% pre-bell. Shorts piling in like locusts. Victor called at 9:02. Blocked number. But I knew that timbre, velvet over gravel. Charlotte. We need to talk. I let it ring to voicemail. His plea crackling. This isn't you. Come in. Let's fix it. For old times. Old times? The ones where he sold me out for a corner office? I texted back. Check the logs. Vic. History repeats. Then blocked him for good. Elena's line was next. Straight to a harried assistant. MS. Vasquez is in meetings. Regarding. I hung up. Savoring the chaos blooming on Twitter. Apex leak trending. Traders memeing, restructuring. Now with extra betrayal. The fallout was biblical. SEC subpoenaed by lunch. FBI wetware teams traced the IP to a dead end in Tallinn. Protests erupted outside Apex Tower. Gig workers and justice for quants, tease. Joined by laid-off suits, waving pink slips like flags. I watched from a diner in Williamsburg. Eggs over easy turning to lead in my gut. Part of me, the girl who'd once dreamed of corner offices, winced. These were my people. Collateral in my vendetta. But the other part, the one forged in that holding cell, she toasted with diner coffee. To the team. Elena's flip came swift. A knife in the ribs. By evening, she surfaced on Fox Business. Poise cracking under Klieg lights. This is the work of a disgruntled ex-employee, Charlotte Hayes, who previously admitted to fraud. We're victims here, fighting to protect our integrity. Victims? The Chiron flashed my plea docs. Twisted into known felon strikes back. Victor flanked her. Arm paternal around her shoulders, co-CEO formalized overnight. Wedding rumors swirling in the trades. My phone buzzed. Mark. My ex. Unblocked after years. Saw the news. You okay? Call me. I didn't. Vulnerability was a luxury I'd bankrupted. Night 2. The hounds bayed closer. A knock rattled my door. NYPD. Plainclothes with badges like stop signs. MS. Hayes. Routine questions on the breach. I lawyered up quick. Public defender from the old trial who owed me a favor. Interrogation rooms smelled of stale donuts. Detectives tag-teamed. Grizzled vet with a Brooklyn accent. Millennial with a tablet. We know it's you. Charlotte. The code's got your fingerprints. Wharton-style Easter eggs in the script. I stonewalled. Miranda writes a shield. Ask my attorney. But inside. Doubt gnawed. Was this revenge or suicide? Victor's slush fund implicated half the board. Elena's pack tied to election hacks. Innocent scorched junior analysts. I'd seen their faces on the floor. Kids with student loans and dreams. The twist slithered in at 2 a.m. Email from an anonymous sender. Elena_V@apex.com. Forward. Attachment. Audio file. Victor's voice. Slurred Scotch. She's perfect. Elena. Frame Hayes again if you have to. Keep the heat off us. Date stamped last week. Post-leak planning session. Elena. Recording her mentor's confession? Or plant to throw me deeper? I played it looped. Paranoia fever. By morning, I forwarded it to the Times tip line and signed. Of course. The story broke at noon. Apex CEO caught on tape. Cover-up plot? Stock cratered 40%. Trading halted. Protests swelled to riots light. Barricades at the tower. Chance of lock 'em up. Victor resigned by Sunday. Presser in the lobby. Face ashen under the marble arches. Personal reasons. Elena will lead as interim. She stepped up. All steel magnolia. Will rise stronger. Transparent as glass. But her eyes, darting to the cameras? Fear. Pure. My burner pinged her number. Charlie, we need to meet. It's not what you think. I agreed, neutral ground. Central Park at dusk. Bethesda fountain where tourists fed pigeons like nothing rotted in the streets. She arrived in yoga pants and a hoodie. No makeup. Hair a ponytail frizz. You did this, she hissed. But no venom, just exhaustion. We walked the loop. Leaves crunching like bones. Victor's cancer, she blurted. Stage 4. Pancreatic, 6 months. Tops. The slush? His legacy fund for experimental treatments. Off books to dodge taxes. Elena's fees? Covering his meds. Her loyalty bought with lies. He made me promise, protect the firm. Protect him. Framing you twice. His idea. I was drowning in it. Tears tracked her cheeks, smudging the remnants of liner. My gut twisted. Pity for the viper? Why tell me now? She stopped, gripped my arm. Because the leak. It freed me. But it's killing him. And you're collateral again. The world tilted. Victor. Dying? The monster mortal. Wheezing in a penthouse hospice. Betrayal reframed, not greed, but desperation. I'd taken the fall for a father's fear. Elena complicit in the cover. What do you want? I asked. Voice a rasp. Help me end it clean. One last file, his will. Clean donations to the victims. In exchange, I bury the audio. And your name. Cleared. Board vote. Controversial choice. Mercy for the man who broke me. Or double down on the pyre. I walked away. Her pleas echoing in the twilight. Home. I stared at the monitors. The script idling. Pull the plug on the switch. Let the feds feast. Or compromise. The American way. Cut a deal in the gray. Dawn painted the skyline in bloody hues. A fitting canvas for the moral quagmire I'd waded into. Elena's olive branch dangled like fruit from the tree of knowledge. Tempting. Toxic. Clear my name? A board resolution. Retroactive innocence. Doors flung open to the finance world I'd clawed to reclaim. But Victor's legacy? Polished turds. Donations from tainted coffers. Whitewashing sins with charity checks. And me? Playing God again, sparing the devil for a pat on the head. Sleepless. I chain-brewed diner sludge. Scrolling the feeds, Apex Apocalypse. Memes of Victor as the Grim Reaper trading souls. Public opinion split like a bad divorce, half crowing burn the witch me, half Leoneizing the Quan Avenger. Reddit threads dissected my motive porn jilted lover, ideological crusader. No one guessed the gut-punch truth, a daughter's rage for a stolen father. The meet was set for noon. Victor's pied de terre on the Upper East Side, a pre-war palace dripping with old money. Doormen in brass buttons eyeing me like yesterday's trash. Elena buzzed me up, her face a mask of Botox calm. "He's lucid today," she murmured in the elevator. Mahogany panels closing like a coffin. The penthouse sprawled, Persian rugs swallowing footsteps. Walls lined with hockneys and hypocrisy. Victor reclined in a leather throne by floor-to-ceiling windows. For drip, a serpentine companion. Oxygen hissing like confessions. Thinner than the scandal photos. Cheeks hollowed. But those eyes still lasers. Dim to embers. Charlie. His voice. A wheeze wrapped in warmth. "Sit." Scotch. A crystal decanter gleamed on the sideboard. Macallan, 25. The bottle we'd cracked after my first big trade. I waved it off, perching on the settee like it might bite. Elena hovered, pouring for him. 2 fingers. Neat, then vanished to give us space. Lies. All of it. The room thrummed with the unspoken, the drive, the raid, the cell. "You look good," he lied, sipping. "Stronger." I snorted, the sound ugly in the hush. "Prison food'll do that." Or was it the lifetime of alibis you fed me? He coughed. A wet rattle. Waving off the napkin Elena darted in with. "Fair. I owe you the truth." And out it spilled. Halting as a telegraph, the cancer hit pre-crash. Misdiagnosis. Debts piling like bad bets. The algo tweaks? Desperation. Not avarice, to pump the fund for treatments big pharma priced like lumbos. I coded the proxies myself. Routed through your station. Thought it'd vanish in the noise. It didn't. Regulators sniffed. Board panicked. He chose self-preservation, pinning the puppeteer on the puppet. You were young. Expendable. I was. Fighting for time. Tears tracked his jowls. Genuine as a gut punch. Elena's complicity. Groomed from day one. Protect daddy's secrets. Her flips loyalties camouflage. Fear of losing the only family she'd claimed. Pity warred with poison in my veins. Time he stole from me. Vic. 2 years gone. Mark gone. Everything. He nodded. Frail hand extended, age spotted. Trembling. I know. The files. They're out. No undoing. But Elena's offer stands. Donate it all, the slush. Clean. Scholarships for quants like you were. Your name. Gold-plated. The will lay on the table. Crisp vellum. My signature the quill. Sign. And absolution. Refuse. And the pyre roars on. I signed. Not for him, for the girl in the cell. Dreaming of ledgers, not locks. We shook. His grip papery. A father's at last. Elena reappeared. Eyes glassy. Hugging me fierce. Thank you, sister. Lies lingered. But in that moment, fragile as spun glass, it felt like truce. The board vote was theater. Zoom call from a midtown conference room. Suits pixelated in deference. Elena chaired. Voice honeyed steel. Resolution 47B. Exonerate Charlotte Hayes of prior allegations. Reinstate with back pay and equity. Eyes unanimous. Fear of further leaks. Or genuine remorse. My badge arrived FedEx next day. Gold embossed. A phoenix from ashes. Apex 3.0 relaunched under Elena. Ethics first. Billboards in Times Square preaching transparency. Victor slipped away quietly 2 months later. Obit in the journal. Pioneer of modern finance. Loving mentor. I attended the funeral in Central Park. Black dress whipping in the wind. Elena's arm linked in mine. Whispers rippled. The whistleblower? I met their stares. Chin high. Controversy clung like Chanel no. 5. Heroes or hypocrites? Forums debated. Hayes sold out for a paycheck versus redemption arc. Baby. Back on the floor. Ghosts greeted me. Old desk reclaimed. Monitors humming with fresh algos clean. Audited. Elena's reform. Mark texted congrats. Coffee turned to dinner. We rekindled over tie in the village. His hand tentative on mine. Proud of you. Char. Whatever it took. Nights. I debugged code till my eyes burned. The rhythm of keys a heartbeat. But shadows lurked. Anonymous emails. We know what you buried. Tips to the feds I'd rerouted. Elena's loyalty? Tested in board squabbles. Her pushing aggressive trades that echoed Victor's ghosts. For growth, she'd say. Eyes flicking away. I pushed back. Memos laced with caution. Earning her side-eye. Don't go soft on me now. The real twist uncoiled 6 months in. A Friday the 13th of boardroom knives. I'd risen fast, head of risk analytics. Elena's right hand. Privy to the vaults. Late audit. Digging through legacy files for a client review. I unearthed the tomb. Victor's clean will? A shell. The donations? Funneled through shells to Elena's pack. Now supercharged for midterms. And the audio, the one I'd buried, dupe on her desktop. Forwarded to a DOJ contact labeled Hayes Collusion. She'd played me again. Flipping for power's throne. My exoneration? Bait. To lure me into complicity. Then torch me as the fall girl redux. Rage. Old friend. Ignited. But this time, no midnight flood. I copied the evidence, her desktop mirrored to my thumb, and walked into Elena's office at dusk. City lights a pyre below. We need to talk. Her smile faltered. Then hardened. Charlie. What's this? I slid the drive across the desk. Your legacy. All of it. She blanched. Calculations whirring. You wouldn't, but I would and didn't. Resign, I said, voice steady as the Hudson. Or it all drops. Victor's way, but mine. Her eyes. Mirrors of his calculating. Cornered. Co-CEO. A beat. Partners. We shook. Equals in the gray. She stepped down quietly, family reasons, naming me successor. The pact dissolved. Funds rerouted true. Scholarships. Yes, victim restitution. Double. Mark proposed over lobster at La Bernardine. Ring glinting like vindication. Wedding in the Hamptons. Victor's old haunt. Irony's toast. But endings aren't tidy in America. Land of the free. Home of the sued. Whispers persist. Did Hayes buy her halo? Forums rage. Feminist win or corporate capture? Elena? Consulting now. Her memoir delinked. Betrayed by the boys' club and the woman who saved it. We lunch monthly. Civilities laced with what-ifs. Victor's ghost? In every trade. Every board vote. A reminder. Revenge isn't a period, but a comma. And in the quiet hours, staring at the skyline's jagged promise, I wonder, was it justice? Or just another restructure? The files? Still out there. Echoes in the ether. Midnight's gift. Midnight's curse. Pull the trigger again? Maybe. For now, I trade. A year blurred into the ledger of ledgers. Apex under my helm, a phoenix with clipped wings. Profitable. Yes, but scarred. The restructuring I'd ignited evolved into Hayes Protocol, mandatory audits, whistleblower bounties, a diversity push that filled the floor with faces like mine, once outliers. Wall Street whispered the quant queen reigns, but the trades knew better, respect laced with wariness, like sizing up a cobra in a suit. Elena faded to footnotes. Her consulting gig a velvet exile in Miami. Poolside pitches to crypto bros. We exchanged Christmas cards, hers monogrammed, mine typed, to new beginnings. No love lost, just the residue of schemes. A bond forged in fire's afterglow. Mark and I settled into domesticity's groove. A brownstone in Cobble Hill where weekends meant farmers' markets and brunches at Buttermilk Channel. The ring on my finger caught light like a secret, our vows. Exchanged under oaks in Prospect Park. Echoed Victor's last wheeze. For us. But marriage is its own algo, inputs of compromise. Outputs unpredictable. Nights. When Mark snored soft beside me, I'd slip to the study. Screens glowing with shadows. The thumb drive. That Pandora's pixel. Sat in the safe. Untouched but untrashed. Temptations hum. The debate raged eternal. A national pastime. Podcasters dissected the leak like autopsy. Was Charlotte Hayes a hero or a hack? Joe Rogan weighed in. She's got balls. But Wall Street eats its young. My TEDx slot at NYU went viral. Revenge as Reckoning. 2 million views. Standing ovations from kids with MacBooks and manifestos. Backstage. A fan cornered me. Tattooed barista from the old Queen's Dive. You changed my life. Char. Quit slinging drinks. Got my certs. Tears pricked. Redemption's ROI. Compounded. Yet the splits deepened. Factions forming like market bubbles. Feminists hailed sisterhood's sting back, but trad bros on X sneered corporate cuck, sold out for the corner office. A Senate hearing loomed. Midterms fever pitching Apex's pack ghosts into the spotlight. Subpoena arrived via courier. Crisp as a pink slip. Testimony required. MS. Charlotte Hayes. Apex financial irregularities. 2018 to 2025. Elena's doing? Or karma's boomerang? I prepped with the firm's lawyers. Old guard. Billing $1,200 per hour. Rehearsing deflections. Proprietary. Under advisement. The twist. When it landed. Was a sucker punch from the grave. 2 weeks pre-hearing. A package thudded on my stoop. No return. Brown wrap like anonymity's cloak. Inside. Manila envelope. Yellow news clips of the crash. My trial. And a letter. Victor's scrawl. Dated his last lucid day. Charlie, if you're reading this. Elena's played her hand. The real secret? The algo wasn't mine. It was yours. Prototype you sketched drunk after hours. 3 years pre-crash. I stole it. Branded it Apex Gold. The tweaks? To hide the theft. You took the fall for your own genius. Girl. Forgive or burn it all. Love. Dad. The world inverted. My code. The overrides traced to me? Echoes of my own hubris. Victor's frame, a mirror to my ambition. I'd birthed the beast. He'd midwifed the monster. Elena knew her flips. Protecting not just him, but the lie we'd all swallowed. Rage dissolved into ether. I burned the letter in the sink, flames devouring ink like absolution. No drop, no flood. The drive? Formatted, wiped clean. At the hearing, under cleags and gavels, I testified measured. Mistakes were made. Lessons learned. Apex commits to integrity. Smiles from senators. Nods from scribes. No bombshells. Just boilerplate. Elena called post-testimony. Voice sun-soaked. Proud of you. Partner. Dinner in the city. I demurred. Rain check. But we met anyway. Loose cirque redux. Foie gras and footnotes. He told you, she said. Not question. I nodded. Clinking glasses. We all stole from each other. Truce eternal. Or temporary. Her eyes sparkled. New venture. Fintech startup. Ethics engine. Mine? Apex thrived. Stock rebounding. But I'd exits. Adjunct at Columbia. Lecturing on algo ethics. Penning my own memoir. Title TBD. But whispers of the fall girl's flight. Mark sensed the shift. Over Morning Joe, you seem lighter. Sex that night was fervent. Reclaiming. But in the quiet, doubts whispered. Hero? Villain? Or just human? Trading blows in the Coliseum of Capital? The public? Still split. Debates fueling my inbox. Fan mail. Death threats. Invites to rallies. You're the future, one gushed. You're the problem, snarled another. Ending? Pick your poison. Happy. Apex clean. Ring secure. Legacy etched in code. Tragic. The rot recurs. My signature on the next scandal scroll. Victor's ghost chuckles from the ether. For us. And midnight? It waits. Files hidden or not. For the next restructure. In America, revenge isn't done. It's iterated. Version 2.0. Pull the trigger? Nah. For now, I trade. But the switch? Always one ping away.